Um, Today we're going to be talking about Israel restored. That's the title of today's lesson: the restoration of Israel.
Mhm.
Um, we have talked about the curses and all of that, but I kind of want to deal with what happens after all that in our restoration. So let's jump into Deuteronomies chapter 27. We'll start with verse 9. Deuteronomies 27, verse 9.
Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 9. And Moses and the priests, the Levites, spake unto all Israel, saying, Take heed and hearken, O Israel. This day thou art become the people of the Most High thy power. Verse 10. Thou shalt therefore obey the voice of the Most High thy power, and do his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day.
So here it is. Moses is coming and he's speaking to the priests and the Levites and unto Israel, and he's telling them, listen, you are now the people of the Most High. So because of that, you must obey his commandments and his statutes. All right. Let's go to chapter 28, verse 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Most High thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Most High thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Okay, so he's saying, if you do these things, if you keep my laws and my commandments, he's talking to Israel still, his people. He's saying that I will set you above all nations of the earth. All right, let's jump down to verse 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Most High thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
And so now he's saying, but if you don't keep these commandments and these statutes, these curses will overcome you. We've spoken about these curses. They run from verse 16 all the way to verse 68. So as you can tell, that's a lot of different curses. We're not going to go into them now. But if you haven't read those, it's important that you read them because those curses will mark the children of Israel today. And that is one way we know who the children of Israel are, by these curses being fulfilled upon them even today. Let's go to verse 46.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
So these curses that are mentioned between these verses of 15 and verse 68, it says that they shall be upon thee as a sign. So like that right there lets you know that it will be a sign to as a sign of recognition to this people. Like when you're looking for a bathroom, there's a sign that says that has a woman. There's a sign that has a man. That's how you recognize which bathroom is for the woman or a man. These curses will be a sign for Israel. This is how you recognize who Israel is. And this sign will be a wonder and upon thy seed forever. All right. Continue. Well, let's jump to Romans chapter 3. We're going to be in Deuteronomies for the most part, so hold it. We'll be coming back. But let's jump to Romans chapter 3, verse 1. And you'll notice that these signs apply strictly to Israel rather than any other nation, because Israel are the people of the Most High.
Was that one he says, I had not dealt with no other nation,
right,
but Israel.
But Israel. He has not dealt so with any other nation but Israel. And that's where we're going here, is to show that.
Okay. What chapter?
Chapter 3, verse 1.
Romans chapter 3, verse 1. What advantage then hath the Jew? Or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of the Most High.
So this is Paul asking, what difference does it make if you are of the seed of Abraham, if you are from Israel, if you are a Jew? What is, also another way of putting it is, what good is the circumcision? Because the circumcision was given as a token of the covenant between the Most High and Abraham, as well as each of Abraham's seed. So when it says the circumcision, it's referring to Israel as well. The physical circumcision, we know that the spiritual circumcision is required of everyone who accepts Christ and the baptism. And that's a different topic. But right now we're looking at Romans 3 and 1. And it says, what advantage is it? And he says, much every way. So it's in many ways there is an advantage to Israel. This is Paul speaking, saying this in the New Testament. But he says, but chiefly, most of all, the advantage is because the Most High gave his oracles, or his laws, statutes, and judgments to this people. Okay, so many ways, but most of all because they were given the commandments of the Most High. All right, let's jump to Psalms 147, verse 19.
Psalms 47.
147. This is to show the relevance of this people. He grabbed Moses, the Most High grabbed Moses, and he gave him laws and commandments to give to his people. And he told Moses to tell his people, if they keep these commandments, they will be above all nations on the earth. However, if they don't, they will be cursed. And we see Paul saying that it is, in many ways, it is an advantage to be a Jew, but chiefly because the oracles were given to the Israelites. All right, go ahead, verse 19.
Psalms 147, verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgment unto Israel.
So here it is. He's showing that he showed the same thing. Is echoing what Paul had said. Moses presented the statutes and judgments to Israel when he came down from the top of the mount, which we were just reading in Deuteronomy. Continue with verse 20.
He hath not dealt so with any nation.
Has he done that with any other nation? No. He has not dealt so with any nation. And see, this even brings up the point to why it's important that Israel realize who they are. We had talked about this in the study we did called "Why Does It Matter?" It matters because the laws and the oracles and the commandments were given to Israel, and Israel is responsible for being a light to the Gentiles because he has not dealt so with any other nation. So how will the other nations know the truth if Israel is not informed of the truth first off themselves, and then give this truth and be a light to the Gentiles? Continue read. Go ahead and read that again, brother.
Verse 20. And he hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgment, they have not known them. Praise ye the Most High.
And it's saying their judgments, the judgments from his statutes, the other nations haven't known either. And see, that's part of the reason why Israel gets dealt with in the manner that it does, is because Israel knows better. Because these things were given to us. The judgments, we understood them. We understood all of this. Whereas the other nations, they can do things that we may do and not necessarily get, and they may get away with it because these oracles and judgments and commandments were not given to them initially. Let's look at that a little further. Let's go to Amos chapter 3, verse 1.
Say chapter 3.
Chapter 3, verse 1.
Amos chapter 3, verse 1. Hear this word that the Most High hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities.
See, so here we have the children of Israel that were brought out of Egypt. He's saying, I've only known you. I've only shared these intimate things with you. And because I've told you to do this and not to do this, or not to do this and to do this, because I've shared this with you, I will punish you for not being obedient. I can't punish one of my children if they do something that I didn't explain to them that they shouldn't do. But if I've told my child, don't do this, and they continue to do it, then a punishment is warranted. Let's look at Romans 2, chapter 2, verse 9.
Romans chapter 2, verse 9. Tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that doeth evil, of the Jews first, and also of the Gentiles.
So it's saying tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that doeth evil. So anyone that does evil, the scripture is saying that there will be tribulation and anguish on them. But it says to the Jew first, and also to the Gentile. This is Paul speaking in Romans. This is after Paul had started teaching the Gentiles. As they became aware of these things and of the law, then also they became acceptable to this punishment, or susceptible to this punishment, to the punishments as well. And it's just the law of the Most High. Whether you understand the law or not, eventually you continue to be unlawful. It's going to affect you, but it's going to affect us more because we know better. Continue.
Romans chapter 2, verse 10.
Or to those who know better, is going to affect more. Go ahead.
But glory, honor, and peace to every man that worketh good, to the Jew first, and also to the Gentile.
But to those who work good, or who then honor and glory, to the Jew first, and then to the Gentile. All right. So let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1. So we see that there was a if-then situation that the Most High had established with Israel. If you keep the laws and the commandments, then you will be considered above all nations on the earth. But if you don't, then you'll have to deal with these curses. So we understand that, and we have dealt. At a point we kept the law, and we were considered the nation above all nations on earth. No nation could come against us, but we fail as well. And so now we deal with the curses accordingly until we come back to the Most High. Deuteronomy 30, verse 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whether the Most High thy power have driven thee.
And see, this is what we're doing right now. It says, when all these things are come up upon thee, the blessing and the curse, after you've dealt with the blessing, and then after the curse have come upon you, there's going to come a time while you're scattered among the nations that I've scattered you throughout, that you're going to recall these things. Matter of fact, that's what we're doing right now. At this very moment, we're recalling the blessings and the curses that Israel has endured in the midst of the nations that we've been scattered amongst. And so once Israel has enjoyed the blessings of the promise and endured the curses of the promise, then within the nation that we have been scattered, we will start to remember these things. Continue with verse 2.
Verse 2. And shall return unto the Most High thy power, and shall obey his voice according to all that I have commanded thee this day.
So this is Moses prophesying of what was to come. Moses had just told them, had just came down from the mountain, given them the law, and said, are you willing to make this covenant with the Most High? Israel said, yes, I will. We will. We will keep the commandments and we will be God's people. So, and he's told them the repercussions of following the commandments, and he's told them the repercussions of not, the curses. So after he's done that, and Israel has accepted this covenant and accepted that they would obey the commandments, then he goes on and says, well, there's going to come a time where you're going to end up, you're going to follow it and get the blessings, and you're going to fall and get the curses. So he's prophesying to this people before anything has even happened, before they have disobeyed the word of the Most High. He's prophesying of things that we are dealing and going through now, back when the law was first even given. So go ahead and read verse 2 again.
Verse 2. And shall return unto the Most High thy power, and shall obey his voice according to all that I have commanded thee this day, thou and thy children with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
So he's saying there will come a time after you have gone astray, and after you initially receive the blessings, and then after you receive the curses, there will come a time where you will come back to the Most High, you and your children, and then you will obey what I have told you to obey today. All right, continue.
Verse 3. That then the Most High thy power will turn thy captivity, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Most High have scattered thee.
So the Most High, at that point, when you return back to the Most High, he's going to return to you and turn back your captivity. And, you know, it's amazing because so many people don't realize the captivity that we're in now. And not even just to say that just us as Israelites or as black people or as brown people, but really everyone in this Western society has become entrapped within this slavery, you know, but specifically our people. We have a history of being enslaved, you know, and you talk to people about how we are enslaved now, and they want to say, you know, I got me a Escalade, a house, a 4 or 5 bedroom house, and a flat screen TV, and feel like they free. But in actuality, you know, as you do the research and come off from under the blinding of this matrix, and you see the reality of things, it's a slavery. You're enslaved. Don't go to work for a week or for a month and see what happened. And that's a very surface level of the enslavement. Not to mention the mental enslavement that causes you to do and react the way that you do. We've all been programmed to some extent, and the Most High is going to draw back that programming from our mind. And it's such a freeing and refreshing thing to have happen when you're able to start seeing things for what they really are. Continue. Did you read all of verse 3?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go down to verse 9.
Verse 9. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 9. And the Most High thy power will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand, and in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land for good. For the Most High will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers.
And see, the first half of this verse sounds very familiar. It says, and the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, in the fruit of thy cattle, in the fruit of thy land. Let's look at verse 28, or Deuteronomy 28 and 18.
Deuteronomy chapter 28. Verse 18.
This is one of the curses that would come upon us if we didn't continue in hearkening to the voice of the Most High.
Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body.
The fruit of thy body.
And the fruit of thy land.
The fruit of thy land.
The increase of thy kin.
The increase of thy kin.
and the flock of thy sheep.
And the flock of thy sheep. That's thy cattle.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's look at verse 9 again. Deuteronomy 30, verse 9. And we see that curse that was put upon us for not keeping the Most High, once we return back to him, that these curses that were put on us would be reversed. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, even to the point of the curse of death being reversed. That was put upon us way back in Adam. Mm-hmm. So we see these curses will shed off of us as we return back to the Most High. And he will rejoice over us like he rejoiced over Abraham and gave him success in a land of strangers, as well as he did with Isaac and Jacob, and even what he did to Israel when he freed them from the reign of Pharaoh and put them in a land that was already prosperous, flowing with milk and honey, that had already been worked and prepared for them just to come in and enjoy. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing he will do with us when we return back to him. Verse 10.
Verse 10. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Most High thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law, and if thou return unto the Most High thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
So that's what he's asking us to do. Mm-hmm. He's asking us to return back to him. And this is Moses speaking even before any of these things had happened. So mm-hmm. Moses was a prophet in himself, because the Most High had revealed these things to him, mm-hmm. Even before they ever happened. Mm-hmm. Let's look at, he's calling us to come back to him. Let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14.
Second Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. If my people, which are called by my name,
who is called by his name? Israel. Continue.
Shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways.
So those who are called by his name must humble themselves, mm-hmm. pray and seek his face and turn from their wicked ways. Continue.
And then will I hear from heaven.
Then will he hear our prayers. Mm-hmm. So if we can't come to him humbly, mm-hmm. and turning away from our wicked ways, he won't hear from heaven. He won't hear our prayers. Mm-hmm. Continue.
And will heal their land.
Will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Mm-hmm. So this is what's required of us for him to even hear us. Mm-hmm. We have to turn from our wicked ways, humble ourselves, and pray to the Most High. Then will he hear from heaven. Mm-hmm. All right? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 30, verse 11. He's calling us to return to him. Mm-hmm. After we've gone through the blessings and the curses of being obedient initially and then falling away from his commandments, he's calling us to return to him. And then he will rejoice over us as he did our forefathers. Go ahead with verse 11.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 11. For this commandment which I command thee this day, it is not hidden from thee, neither is it far off.
So he's saying, Moses is basically saying, so what I've shared with you today, it's not a secret. It's not locked up in a secret chamber. It's here and it's available. Mm-hmm. So follow it. Let's go to Jeremiah 32, verse 37. Mm-hmm. And now, after dealing with, I wanted to go into some of that earlier, the curse and all those scriptures we just came out of, so that we can understand the chronological flow of the restoration of Israel, mm-hmm. how it would play out. And so now, jumping in Jeremiah, we're about to see this restoration come to fruition.
32 and 37.
Jeremiah 32, verse 37.
Jeremiah chapter 32, verse 37. Behold, I will gather them out of all countries, whither I have driven them in my anger, and in my fury, and in great wrath. And I will bring them again unto this place, and I will cause them to dwell safely.
So who's he talking about here? He's talking about Israel. Because Israel was scattered into all countries because of his anger, because we disobeyed him. But he's saying, I will gather them back together. Stay in Jeremiah, but brother, will you read 37, Ezekiel 34 and verse 13?
Ezekiel
34, verse 13.
Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 13. And I will bring them out from the people, and gather them from the countries, and will bring them to their own land, and feed them upon the mountains of Israel by the rivers, and in the inhabiting place of the country.
So this is the beginning of the restoration of Israel. So let's get back in Jeremiah chapter 32. Let's read verse 38.
Verse 38. And they shall be my people, and I will be their power.
And that was the initial covenant right there. He said, if you keep my laws and my commandments, then I will be your God and you will be my people. But there was so much that went on between us accepting that covenant and now. And, or should I say, between us accepting that covenant and the point that he's speaking of now. And see, all of this, oftentimes you can ask yourself, well, why did it have to go through all this? Why is this? Why that? You know what I'm saying? But what the Most High was doing was, he was still perfecting his creation. Even now, we're being made perfect. People could say, well, why did God allow evil and sin and all this? Because it is, when God looks down, he doesn't see time as we do. We see time within years, and like, why didn't it just happen immediately? What we're experiencing is God in the midst of perfecting his creation. So when it says in verse 38, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God, at that point there will be no more rebellion, and his people will be perfected. Like, that was his ultimate goal. It just took going through these things for it to come through into fruition, if that makes sense. All right, go ahead.
Verse 39. And I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever, for the good of them and of their children after them.
Because if we hadn't gone through some of the things that we've gone through, then we wouldn't understand the goodness that we have in the Most High once we have come back to him. And so all of that was a necessity for us to get to the point that the Most High could say that they may fear me forever. Because initially, before they had these curses upon them, we stopped fearing them. But now that we have this experience to draw upon, it has molded us into a people that will eventually become a people that will fear him forever. And that all this won't happen anymore. Once Christ comes back and has set up his kingdom, then his creation will be perfected, and that will be the end of it. But we are in the midst of perfecting his people and his creation right now. Continue.
Verse 40. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will not turn away from them to do them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts, that they shall not depart from me.
And we will never depart from him again. He's going to promise to never turn away from us and to do us good, and we will never depart from him. Continue.
Verse 41. Yea, I will rejoice over them to do them good, and I will plant them in this land assuredly with my whole heart and with my whole soul.
So he's going to replant us in the land of Israel. That is yet to happen. These are things that are still to come. This is the restoration of Israel. Those people that are planted there now are not the people that are being spoke of here. They do not fulfill the promises. They do not fulfill the curses. And when you do it's not hard to research the people that are there, and it's easy to see that they have no physical link to these people that are being spoken of in the Bible. Mm-hmm. Continue.
Verse 42. For thus said the Most High, like as I have brought all this great evil upon this people, so will I bring upon them all the good that I have promised them.
So we have seen the evil that's been brought upon us. Mm-hmm. And he's promising, just as this evil has come upon them, you can rest assured that I will fulfill my promises of good upon them. Mm-hmm. So we have hope and we have faith because we know that he's he doesn't fall short of his word. Mm-hmm. And just as much as we have experienced these evils, you can believe we will experience the good. Mm-hmm. Let's go to Ezekiel 37:1.
Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 1. The hand of the Most High was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of the Most High, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones.
So this is Ezekiel explaining to us a vision that was given him. Let's go to verse 4.
Verse 4. Again he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Most High.
So we're all familiar with this story of the dry bones. Mm-hmm. Let's go to verse 10.
Verse 10. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived, and stood upon their feet, an exceedingly great army. Verse 11. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel.
The whole house of Israel. Mm-hmm. Meaning the 10 tribes to the north, as well as the other tribes to the south. Mm-hmm. The whole house. We will be brought back together as one nation, as a great army. When Christ returns, this great army is the army that's going to go to war. Mm-hmm. All right, and this is what the nations fear. Mm-hmm. This is what they fear: us waking up and returning to our power. Continue.
Mm-hmm. Behold, they say our bones are dry.
They say our bones are dry. They look at us, and they have thoughts of these people are savages, and they look at us as if we are nothing, and they treat us as if we are nothing. That's what it says. That's what it means when it says they say our bones are dry, and that our hope is lost. Continue.
We are cut off for our parts. Verse 12. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus said the Most High Power, behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves, and bring you into the land of Israel.
And sometimes just day-to-day living among our people, like you can see why they would say these things. Mm-hmm. While you can see how they would say that they're dry bones and that they're without hope. Mm-hmm. So many of us are in circumstances that seem hopeless. Mm-hmm. That we're so much without things that are a material gain. We're even without things that are spiritual, which is more important than the material. Mm-hmm. But most people look on the surface and see that we as a people are just without. Mm-hmm. And for it to say that he will open our graves, I mean, we are a dead people. We don't even know who we are. We don't even connect ourselves to another brother or sister as family or as a nation. We just see our brothers and sisters as either competition or as just somebody else in the street. We have no connection to our people until we come into the truth and understanding of the word of the Most High. Mm-hmm. And so we are dead. But these bones will have life and will be breathed into again. And it's happening now. Mm-hmm. Day by day, it's happening more and more. We are recognizing who we are, and we are coming together as a people. Mm-hmm. Let's jump to chapter 38, verse 1.
Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1. And the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Son of man, Set thy face against God, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tabal, and prophesy against him.
These are the sons of Japhet that is speaking of here. Go ahead.
Verse 3, and say, thus saith the Most High Power, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal.
Let's jump to verse 8.
Verse 8, after many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them.
So he's everything that we're about to read now is being prophesied to Gog, Meshach, and Tubal, to this people, which are from the seed of Japhet, which is the what is known as the Asian people of today. Japan, China, all that Oriental Eastern side of the world. So he's saying after many days, you will. He's talking to Gog and Meshach and Tubal. He's saying you will in the latter years, and you know we are in the latter days and in the latter years. This is speaking prophetically. He's saying that you will come into the land that is brought back from the sword. This is speaking of Israel, because Israel will be tormented with war, as it has been, as it is, and as it will be. But that land will be brought back from the sword. And he's prophesying of how they will try to go into this land once it's brought back from the sword. And as we read more further down, we'll understand why. Let's go to verse 9.
Verse 9. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands and many people with thee.
So they're going to come. When it says bands, it's speaking of their armies. And they're going to come upon this land like a cloud, covering the whole land with their bands and with many people. So there will be other people with them coming to this land. Continue.
Verse 10. Thus said the Most High Power, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think in evil thought.
And so while they're coming into this land, they will have evil intentions. They will have evil thoughts. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates.
Now this is us coming in when the Most High will start leading us back to our land from which we were plucked out of at one time. We will be dwelling there safely without walls. When it's saying unwalled villages, it's meaning that we won't have any forts or any fortifications, or Jerusalem had these thick walls back when it was in its day that couldn't be breached. And when it's speaking of walls, it's speaking of defenses. So we'll be there defenseless, as they may look to see us as being defenseless, but we will be spiritually defended, as we'll see. Continue reading.
Verse 12. To take a spoil and to take a prey.
So, because the nations have been used to taking a spoil of us and to taking us as prey, they will feel that it's okay to do it again within this time because we will be in a position that will look vulnerable to them. Continue.
To turn thy hand upon the desolate place that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations.
And we know who these people that have been gathered out of the nations are because we just read about them. The Most High said that he would gather his people out of the nations and turn back their captivity. This is us that they are coming against. Continue.
Which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish with all the young lions thereof shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil?
So here it is. Sheba, Dedan, and Tarshish is going to look to Gog and Meshach and Tubal and say, Are y'all looking to come take a spoil of the Israelites? Is that what you coming over here for? Continue.
And haste thou, gather thy company to take a prey, to carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods.
So they want to say, are y'all coming over here to gather that company to take a prey of this people, to carry away their silver, to take away their gold, their cattle and their goods, to take a spoil of them? We're coming back to Ezekiel, so hold it. But let's jump in Isaiah real quick. Isaiah chapter 60, verse 9. Let's look at Sheba, the Dan, and Tarshish for a hot second.
Isaiah chapter 60, verse 9. Surely the isles shall wait for me, in the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Most High thy power, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified them.
Okay, so this is showing the ships of Tarshish that will bring us to this place of unwild villages and so forth, and will supply us with silver, gold, and goods. So these ships of Tarshish will do this, and as God starts to come against us, Tarshish, already knowing the deal, already knowing what's up, is going to ask them, like, are you about to go mess with this people? Continue, read verse 10.
Verse 10. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy wall, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
And when it says the kings will minister unto thee, that means they will give you things that you need. They will serve you, basically. Continue.
Verse 11. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day or night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles.
And when it says forces, it means riches. So while Israel is in this place that God will decide to come against us at, it will be open to receive the wealth of the Gentiles. Continue.
And that their kings may be brought. Verse 12. For the nations and the kingdoms that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
And see, this is why Tarshish is looking at these people like, do y'all know what y'all about to do? You know what I'm saying? And this is why they're trying to come against them, because God realizes for one, they see the material wealth that has been brought to this people. And for two, I'm sure that they will understand the spiritual significance of us. And come against us to deal with us in a way that they think that they could come and take spoil and prey of us again. That's why Tarshish is like, do you understand what you about to do? Let's go back to Ezekiel. Chapter 38, verse 14.
Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 14. Therefore, Son of man, prophesy and say unto God, Thus saith the Most High, in that day when my people of Israel dwelleth safely, shalt thou not know it?
So he's saying, do you not realize that this is my people and I've put them here and they are dwelling safely? You can't come against them. I've set them up safely. Don't you understand that? Let's jump to chapter 39, verse 1.
Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 1. Therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against God, and say, Thus saith the Most High Power, Behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back, and leave but the sixth part of thee, and will cause thee to come up from the north part, and will bring thee upon the mountain of Israel.
And when it's saying leave but the sixth part of these, basically saying I will annihilate you. You know, as you come against this people, you're going to get dealt with. Verse 3.
And I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and will cause thy arrow to fall out of thy right hand. Thou shalt fall upon the mountain of Israel, thou and all thy bands, and the people that are with thee.
So as we were reading about this great cloud of people with him, with Magog and this and the bands that come with Magog. Now we're reading about what happens to him. Continue.
And I will give thee unto the ravens, birds of every sort, to the beast of the field to be devoured.
So their end result will be them laying out in a field with vultures circling around them, coming in, swooping down, picking their bones. Verse 5.
Thou shalt fall upon the open field, for I have spoken it, saith the Most High.
Go ahead.
Verse 6.
So here it is. We in this place, defenseless. So they think. And they feel it's okay to come against us because we don't have walls, or they don't see us with tanks, and we don't have we're not armed with AK-47s and nuclear weapons. We don't need none of that. We don't need none of that. The Most High is going to deliver us. Continue.
Verse 6. And I will send a fire on Magog, and among them that dwell carelessly in the isles, and they shall know that I am the Most High.
They will know I'm the Most High. It won't be any question. When they come against us, they're going to know that there's a God. It won't be any atheists in that day. None. Go ahead.
Verse 7. So will I make my holy name known in the midst of my people, Israel.
And he's going to make his name known in the midst of us, the low people of the earth. What did that lady on Fox say? I'm going to address this. The lady Megyn Kelly. Have y'all seen that?
Seen it.
You know, Santa Claus and Jesus is white. First off, Santa Claus is a cartoon.
She said, let's be real. They're white.
They're white.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Most High is going to address everybody that will not serve us. He's going to address them in the midst of us.
Yeah, that's amazing.
What about that white Jesus now? Call on that white Jesus now. And, you know, like it's been said many times before, this is not a racist doctrine. For you to come to me and tell me that Jesus is white is racist. That's what's racist. And, you know, the people want to act like we're bringing out something different. It's not different. This ain't different. This is truth. You want to sell me some bull and tell me that it's true, but when I come back and show you what is true, you want to call me racist because the Most High is black, and because his son is black, and you want to call me Black Power or Black Panther because I'm telling you truth. She stood on there on cable television, Fox, broadcast to everybody, and I could tell within her eyes that she really thought that she was telling the truth. She believed every word of what she was saying. What was the funniest thing about it is for her to say Santa Claus is white. I'm like, is this woman serious? Does she really believe in Santa Claus?
Hey, news flash, if you don't mind me interrupting you.
News flash.
But she is telling the truth.
Talking about Saint Nick.
She is telling the truth.
Go ahead, brother. Tell me how she's telling the truth.
First of all, yeah, Jesus is white. Because us that knows the truth, that Yeshua was a black man.
Exactly.
We know that these are two different people that that they're worshiping. And the second thing, well, Esau is white. I'm not saying Esau is Satan, but he worships Satan. So he's representing him. He's white. So she was telling the truth.
She was telling the truth.
But for us that know the truth, we know totally different.
You know, look, it was on Fox.
Right. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And so, and they just up there nodding their head. But anyway, let's get back.
That's no news.
Right. I'll show you a God went in on that.
Yeah.
Esau God went in on that. 26 seconds. He gave the business.
We'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Where did we leave off, brother?
Okay, we were getting ready to go into verse 7 of Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 7.
Go ahead.
Y'all still with us? Verse 7. So will I make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel. And I will not let them pollute my holy name any more. And the heathen shall know that I am the Most High.
And the heathen shall know that I am the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's a powerful statement right there, man. That's so powerful. Go ahead. The Holy One of Israel.
The Holy One of Israel. Ahaya, Ashur, Ahaya.
Man. And the heathen will know. It won't be any questions. Like we won't have to be on the street corner talking about who the Most High is and who we are concerning Him, or it won't. All that'll be our jobs will be done. Continue.
Verse 8. Behold, it is come, and it is done, saith the Most High Power. This is the day whereof I have spoken.
This is the day that I've spoken about. This is the day I've been telling y'all about. Can y'all imagine that day?
I'm trying. I can't. I'm trying.
I just can't wait to that day. I can't wait to that day.
And to hear him say, like, look down on us and be like, see, I got y'all. This is the day I've been talking about. This is it. Man, go ahead, man.
Okay. Trust me.
This is the day I've been talking about.
Trust me. All right. Verse 9. And they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth and shall set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the buckler, the bows and the arrows, and the handstaves and the spears, and they shall burn them with fire 7 years.
7 years is going to take to do away with all these weapons of destruction. Go ahead.
Verse 10. So that they shall take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any out of the forest, for they shall burn the weapons with fire. And they shall spoil those that spoil them, and rob those that rob them, saith the Most High Power.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will give unto Gog a place there of graves, in Israel, the valley of the passenger, on the east of the sea.
So this is what you get for coming against my people. I'm going to give you a grave. You came to take their gold, and you came to take their cattle and to take a prey. But what you're going to take is this grave. Get in it.
And it shall stop the noise of the passengers, and there shall they bury Gog and all his multitude, and they shall call it the valley of Hamagog.
Hamagog. It means the grave of Gog. Go ahead, sister.
No, I just was going to ask, back in 9, when it talks about burning the weapons, who's going to be doing that?
It's going to be us.
Israel. So that's that when you were saying about Israel's going to be the army, I guess, battling.
Yeah, it's going to be us. Go ahead. But you'll see. We'll get into that more as the scripture goes. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them, that they may cleanse the land.
And so right here, out of all those that had died, for 7 months, Israel's going to be burying them. Because it says to cleanse the land. A dead body is considered unclean according to the law. Matter of fact, in Numbers 19, verse 14, you can stay there. I'm going to read it real quick. It says, this is the law. When a man dieth in a tent, all that come into the tent, and all that is in the tent shall be unclean 7 days. And every open vessel which has not covering bound upon it is unclean. And whosoever touches one that is slain with the sword in the open fields, or a dead body, or a bone of a man, or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days. And so you'll notice that for 7 months, we'll be burying these bodies in order to cleanse the land. All right, so go ahead, continue with verse 13.
Verse 13. Yea, all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be to them a renown the day that I shall be glorified, saith the Most High Power.
So this day will be a day of worship. It'll be a day of renown and of remembrance of what the Most High did. And you'll notice that all of our holy days are in remembrance of what the Most High did for Israel, saving Israel out of some kind of persecution, or him delivering Israel. And that's exactly what this will be. Continue.
And they shall serve, verse 14, and they shall serve out men of continual employment.
So for 7 months, Israel will be burying. And then after that 7 months, it says, then they shall sever out men of continual employment. Continue.
Passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth, to cleanse it. After the end of 7 months shall they search.
So after the end of 7 months, Israel for 7 months will be doing this. But then after the end of that 7 months, Israel will sever out men of continual employment, because 7 months of burying won't be enough time to bury everyone that will be dealt with by the Most High up in this time. But after 7 months, then it will be hired or continue employment of men to continue to go out throughout the land doing this, cleaning the land and burying. Let's go to verse 15.
Verse 15. And the passengers that pass through the land, when any seeth a man's bones, then shall he set up a sign by it, till the burners have burned it in the barriers have buried it in the valley of Hamongah. Verse 16.
So that just goes to show how many people will be lying around. You know, for 7 months, it'll be from my understanding, my imagination is to clean the immediate area within that we're dwelling in. You know what I'm saying? And then it says that they will have continual employment of strangers going out throughout the land, walking throughout the land, finding other bodies. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a process to bury all of the dead. Go ahead.
Verse 16. And also the name of the city shall be Hamanah. Thus shall they cleanse the land. Verse 17. And thou, son of man, thus saith the Most High Power, speak unto every feathered fowl, and to every beast of the field, assemble yourselves, and come, gather yourselves on every side, to my sacrifice that I do sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice upon the mountain of Israel, that ye may eat flesh and drink blood.
Now see, we were sacrificed as a Holocaust, coming back and forth on them ships. You know, how many of us died? Hundreds of million. Well, they say about 100 million of us died just between the west coast of Africa and the Americas. Not to mention what sacrificed since then, being here, being brought on the land up until this day. We still continually being sacrificed. And that's exactly what it is. It's sacrifices. Now the Most High is going to recompense unto them what they did to us. He's going to make a sacrifice of them for the birds and the beasts. Continue. Verse 18.
Verse 18. And ye shall eat the flesh of the mighty, and drink the blood of the prince of the earth, of rams, of lambs, and of goats, and of bullocks, all them fatlings of Bishah. Verse 19.
So these kings and these mighty and the princes of the earth, imagine, what's his name, Prince Charles laid up somewhere with birds picking at him. You know what I'm saying? You know, all these so-called dignitaries of the world. Continue.
Verse 19. And ye shall eat fat till ye be full, and drink blood till ye be drunken, of my sacrifice which I have sacrificed for you. Thus ye shall be filled at my table with horses and chariots, and mighty men, and with all men of war, saith the Most High Power. Verse 21.
And see, this is an end time prophecy. Matter of fact, I'm going to read Revelations chapter 19, verse 17. It says, and I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying, to all the fowls that fly in the midst of the heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And you know, the one that's sitting on the horse is talking about the white horse that Christ was sitting upon. So for Christ to be upon this horse, this is end times. So these are things that are yet to happen. Continue with verse 21.
Verse 21. And I will set my glory among the heathens, and all the heathens shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them. So the house of Israel shall know that I am the Most High, their power from that day and forward.
And so he's going to even submit himself among us, even though we should know at this point, but it will be no questions to nobody. It won't be any more questions. It'll all be answered. There is a God, and there is an all-powerful God, a most high God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The heathen will know of him, and so will the Israelites, those who had accepted him and those who didn't. Everybody will know. Continue.
Verse 23. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me.
Not because we were a lesser people than they. Not because we deserve to be in captivity. Not because we have a natural that we naturally tend to lend and have characteristics to be captives, like they say. That's not the reason we were in captivity. The reason we have been in captivity is because of our iniquities. Go ahead.
And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hide I my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword. Verse 24. According to their uncleanness and according to their transgression have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Therefore, thus saith the Most High Power, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob.
And this captivity that he's bringing is the captivity that was initially set up for us. We were only to be captive to the Most High. We were to serve the Most High only. We were never meant to serve anyone else, any other man. The Most High made us to serve him. And we'll go into that in a second. Continue reading this scripture.
Verse 25. Therefore thus said the Most High Power, now I will bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name.
So in Leviticus 25:42, I'm going to read it real quick. It says, for they are my servants, which I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as bondmen. And in verse 55 in the same chapter says, for unto me the children of Israel are servants. They are my servants, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord, your power. So even with him bringing us out of Egypt is because we weren't supposed to be servants to anybody. He's like, that's why I brought them out of Egypt, because they are my servants. They're not supposed to be anybody's bondmen. Continue with verse 26.
Verse 26. After that, they have borne their shame and all their trespasses whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in their land, and none made them afraid.
So he's saying after they've borne their shame, it's basically he's saying after I spanked them and disciplined them, now I will put them in the place that they should be in the first place. This is all to create, to perfect us. It's a part of the perfection. Continue.
Verse 27. When I have brought them again from the people, and gathered them out of their enemies' land, and am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations. Verse 28, then shall they know that I am the Most High, their power, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen. But I have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them any more there.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Verse 29, neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, saith the Most High Power.
And that's exactly what he was saying when in 2 Corinthians 7:14. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 Chronicles 7:14, when he said, then will I hear from heaven. Mm-hmm. And he would turn his face back to us. Mm-hmm. Let's go to Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 13. It's toward the end of the Old Testament. Chapter 3, verse 13.
Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 13. The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth. For they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. Verse 14. Sing, O daughter of Zion, shout, O Israel, be glad and rejoice with all the heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. Verse 15. The Lord hath taken away thy judgment, and he hath cast out thy enemies. The King of Israel, even the Lord, is in the midst of thee. Thou shalt not see evil anymore.
Thou shalt not see evil anymore. So after all of these things have transpired, mm-hmm. now he's showing the restoration. Mm. Go ahead.
Verse 16. In that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, fear thou not, and to Zion, let not thy hands be slack. The Most High thy power in the midst of thee is mighty. He will save. He will rejoice over thee with joy. He will rest in his love. He will joy over thee with singing. I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly. Who are of thee, to whom the reproach of it was a burden. Behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halteth, and gather her that was driven out, and I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame.
Check that out. Read that again.
Verse 19. Behold, at that time I will undo the afflict. At that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halted, and gather her that was driven out, and I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame.
So he's going to cause a total reverse of what it is today. In every land that we have been put to shame in, which is all of them, we will be looked at with praise and with as fame. Mm-hmm. Isaiah 60 said, "Those who will not serve us mm-hmm. shall perish." So there won't be anybody around that's going to try to deal with us in an adverse way. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, read verse 20.
Verse 20. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 20. At that time will I bring you again, even in the time that I gathered you. For I will make you a name and a praise among all people of the earth, when I turn back your captivity before your eyes, saith the Most High.
Can you imagine that? Like when I read this scripture, I just look at all of the brown people of the earth that have been put under these curses. Mm-hmm. And I see us rightfully in our rightful position. And it's and it's not in a manner as to say y'all, that the other nations are going to bend down to us. It's not even like that. But you see the world we live in now. It's not right. Mm-hmm. And those who govern it aren't right. Mm-hmm. The establishments and all the institutions that have been set up in this kingdom that we live in now have been set up for Satan's purpose. Mm-hmm. When the kingdom of the Most High is established and his people are set up in Israel, mm-hmm, that will be a righteous kingdom. Totally opposite of this one. And in that kingdom, we will be looked at totally opposite than we are looked at in this one. Mm. And I'm not even like the scriptures was saying it, but I'm not bringing this out because I want to because it's going to make me feel so great. I'm happy to know the truth. Mm-hmm. But more than anything, just understanding who this people is and how things are going to come out, it just makes me feel, it gives me understanding. Mm-hmm. Put it that way. I understand now. I see why we've been persecuted so much. Mm-hmm. And it helps me to deal with this kingdom when I'm dealing with people who look at me in this certain way. Mm-hmm. Because I realize in the kingdom to come, I'm storing up my rewards for that kingdom. Mm-hmm. So you can treat me how you want in this kingdom. Mm-hmm. But in the kingdom to come, the Most High will deliver me from all of that. Mm-hmm. Will deliver us from all of that. Mm-hmm. And it's just a beautiful thing. Like I can see us in Israel standing as a people. All of us, each tribe within their role, mm-hmm, adding to the body, edifying the body. And then all the other nations coming to learn from us, mm-hmm, coming to be judged by us, coming to bring their forces and the kings of the other nations coming unto us, mm-hmm, to serve us. And it's just righteous. Mm-hmm. I've heard some, like when I was a kid, I would think, I'm like, man, I don't think my thoughts on slavery were this. I was like, if things were reversed, I don't think black people would treat white people like that. Because even experiencing what I have experienced as when I was a black child, I was like I don't even want to do that to them now. Feeling the way I feel, I would if I had power to do what I wanted right now, I wouldn't enslave white people. Mm-hmm. That's not even in us. So when our kingdom comes, that's that's not even anything that they would have to worry about. It will be a righteous kingdom. Mm-hmm. So let's go to Matthew chapter 10, verse 5. Mm-hmm.
Matthews chapter 10, verse 5. These 12 Yeshua sent forth, and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any cities of the Samaritans enter ye not. Verse 6. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Showing that Christ came to restore the kingdom of Israel. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And as ye go, preach, saying, The kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Which kingdom is that?
The kingdom of heaven is at hand.
The kingdom of heaven. So it's showing that Christ is the restoration of Israel. Mm-hmm. This is the final step in this restoration. It's Christ. Mm-hmm. That's why Christ is so important to Israel. For someone to understand who they are, mm-hmm, and not accept Christ, that's like not accepting your restoration, mm-hmm, and not accepting what brings you back to the Most High. Mm-hmm. Let's jump to Matthew chapter 15, verse 24.
Matthews chapter 15, verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Just to bring more light to the fact that Christ came to restore Israel. Now, of course, he after he came and had taught the disciples and taught Israel, he said, go and teach all nations, which I even said previously that Israel is to be a light to the Gentiles. But Christ came for the lost sheep of Israel, to restore Israel. So, that's all I have for today's lesson. I pray a blessing upon anyone that may view this, and all those who are here with us presently. All praise to the Most High, Bahashem Yeshaya, Wa Ruwak. Any questions or comments?